Hello, Flosstube. Hello, how are you? I was supposed to do a video on Saturday and things got out of hand and I couldn't do a video on Saturday. We had some family stuff come up and I wasn't able to, and this is the first time I've been able to film. So, we are coming at you, same spot, just a slightly wider lens because I'm using my computer to film today. We're going to see if that works out any better for me. You can see the wall of DVDs over here, and you can see the mess that is my project box over there. I'll kind of, yeah, that's my project box, and it's its own thing. So, alright. We are going in no particular order today. In news of quasi-note, I do have a new job, or at least a job offer. I have to fill out the paperwork today. And then I have to probably print some stuff out and get it notarized in the next couple days so they can get started on the process. So I will be starting that September 7th. It'll be doing IT work, but since I typically film on Saturdays, it shouldn't be a problem. Shouldn't. I may wind up filming a couple Sundays, just because the next few Saturdays look a little crazy for me, so, we're gonna go in no particular order. Remember when I got back from, actually I don't know if I talked about it, but when I was at StitchCon, one of the things that we did, because I was hanging out with all of my friends from the Cross Stitch chat, we went over to Nessa's house and we dyed some fabric and we made cake and we ate cake and it was amazing. And so I wanted to do, so she taught us how to do the parfait method, which is where you basically take a jar and you mix up all of your dyes and you basically put the dyes in varying shades. So mine was supposed to be black, like a deep dark green, and turquoise. And I think the longer you leave it in, the more saturated it gets. And we left ours in for about an hour, hour and a half, while the cake was baking. And so you need 3 pieces of fabric and 3 colors of dye, and that's how the parfait method works. So my colors, like I said, were supposed to be turquoise, dark green, because I wanted a really dark green so that I could do a memorial piece for my mom. My dark green didn't come out dark green. It did come out kind of acid wash green, so this is one of them. You can see a little bit of that black from the black dye. So this is one of them. One of the 3 pieces that I dyed. And it's always fun watching me fold things back up, because I don't know how to fold them back up. It's kind of ridiculous. This is the second piece. This is probably the piece that I will use for a memorial piece for my mom. Haven't decided what that piece is going to be yet, what I'm going to stitch on it, but I do know that I want to stitch something for her. That's the part I've figured out. And then this is definitely getting something spooky stitched on it, because, I mean, it is this lovely kind of acid wash green and black, and again, can't figure out how to refold these, but my house gave them back to me, which means that it's taken 12 other things away. Currently on the running are my masking tape and like 3 other things. But it did give me back the fabric that I dyed when I was at Nessa's at StitchCon, so that was very nice of it. Alright, what did I work on this week? I worked on my wolf printed. And I mostly did some work up in here, and then I started doing some work in the yellow areas. I guess there-ish. No. Okay, wherever I finished my thread because the needle is not still on here. And this is not going to be team clean back. This is, I have made every mistake you could possibly make. But, I'm working on trying to fill out the rest of the blue and the orange and the brown up here, and probably like the rest of the green, so that I can move the Q-snap down and start working on like the yellow that's still hanging out. I still have a giant chunk of color 10 down there. But this is the project that I use when I am too tired or can't think enough to count. It will eventually be a gift for someone, and it was definitely one of the projects that's got me started back into stitching. Because there are some days when I get done with work and I literally can't think. And so counting is probably not my best bet. But I worked on this a little bit for probably about, let's see. Looks like 45 minutes on Tuesday, which would be when I was gaming. I have a tendency to work on that one a lot when I'm gaming because I don't have to count and I don't have to think about more numbers than I already do when I'm playing D&D. I was over at a friend's last week for 2 days before my volunteer work at the bird and reptile store, and would you please just get somewhere? Thank you. So I was able to work on palmistry a little bit. I moved it into a different hoop, and I've decided to be done with the hand part for now, and I'm going on the letters again. I should probably put it in a bigger hoop. I can't find a bigger hoop that I don't hate right now, so it's staying in this one, and I'm using a thing for a project bag, and I lost it. How did I lose it? It was right here. Welcome to my life. This is what I'm currently using for a project bag. I think it was originally a makeup bag, and I like my eyelashes as black as my heart, and as long as the list of people I want to punch in the face. I keep a lot of my anger and snark right around me. I may put this back on a slightly smaller hoop because it doesn't fit in this one. But that's one that I worked on this week, and I did start Halloween in the round. I have to find the other half of the hoop that I had it on. It's a small metal ring. It'll show back up. Like I said, the house gave me back the fabric from Nessa, so God only knows what else it's going to take from me. When I took this because it's small, and I was literally able to pack up everything up to and including like my needle case in a very small, in that small black bag. But this is the beginnings of Halloween in the round. It is the two birds and the beginnings of the witchy hat. I would love to show you palmistry, the what palmistry is supposed to look like, but I can't find the cover piece for it. So, but that is where I started for Halloween on the Round. That is a JBW Designs. That's one of the ones I picked up at StitchCon, and I've just been keeping it in this little project bag right here, because it's super easy and super quick. Let's see. Fabric needs to go back in the Ziploc bag, and then it will eventually go into my fabric storage box, which I would love to say is lovingly organized. It isn't. New starts for this week would have been the Halloween in the Round, and we're doing this one. This is, I can't even show you a picture of it. Oh. Okay. So I am trying to find because this is a PDF pattern and I'm using it in Pattern Keeper, but of course my Pattern Keeper didn't want to load it right, so I'm getting kind of creative here, so give me just a second. So how I use Pattern Keeper is I have it on a Kindle, and one of the ways that you can get everything into Pattern Keeper is by putting it either in Dropbox or into Google Drive and then loading it in. And does this not have a single? No? No? Okay. Alright, that may have been where half of the problem was. So there's a language warning. If you're not fond of seeing language, look away. You can't really quite see it, but it basically says individuality, autonomy, sexual orientation, gender consent, contraception, identity, and confidentiality, and then in the middle it says my body. And what I'm going to do with this one, I'm stitching it on Strawberry Shortcake from Be Stitch Me, I think. Yeah. Because that is a typically feminine color. And then I am using Naughty by Live and Die LA, which was, I believe, one of their Christmas colorways last year. And of course, this is not going to pick up for crap. Well, maybe a little bit. I'm using that for the words, and then for the design, I'm probably going to do it in either Haunted Mansion or I had another. Yeah. This one's not quite enough, but something like this, because basically it requires like 100 yards of thread, and I don't have a single skein that's 100 yards. I have a few 50 yards, and I have a bunch of 25 yards, and I even have a few 10 yards and some 5 yards of some really pretty variegated. But whenever I see a black and white pattern, my first thought isn't, oh, let's stitch this in black and white. It's, I wonder what variegated colors I can use for it. So, I'm using Pattern Keeper for this, and it is, the pattern is by Birdie's Crossing. When you open the PDF, it says My Body 18 count chart. So I literally looked through my fabric stash and found something that was 18 count. And that's how we got to this. I really need to get more of these things, like a lot more, a lot more, so that I can better manage all of the excess fabric. I mean, ideally there would be cutting it to the size I need it, but that's just crazy talk. I am definitely more of a let me stitch this and then cut it down to size, because I get panicky about cutting things. So I've been working on that, and I'm going to be using 2 different variegateds. I have my Kindle. You can put Pattern Keeper on the Kindle. Let me see if I can actually get it to open up any of my patterns in the way that they need to be opened. I've got a 50-50 shot. So yeah, this one did not load in very correctly either. Let me try and do it this way. So those are the patterns that I currently have in there. It's We Are All Mad Here, the My Body, My Choice, and We're All Mad Here did not load in correctly either, because that's kind of what it looks like. And I abandoned this when I realized just how badly this loaded into Pattern Keeper. But yeah, finding Pattern Keeper again has been pretty amazing. And this is my older Kindle that I put Pattern Keeper on. Pattern Keeper does not typically work on a Kindle, but it can if you ask it nicely. Other things I actually worked on was this. So My Body, My Choice, and Halloween in the Round were my starts. This was done at the pool last week. Went to the pool yesterday, completely forgot to take a project or even a book. It was great. I forgot to put on sunscreen, which is why I'm a little redder in the face than usual. Because if I don't put on sunscreen before I leave the house to go to the pool, I will not wear sunscreen, and I am not of the color that I can get away with that. So I was left unrestrained in Target, which is a huge problem. I should not be let unrestrained in Target because, especially at like back to school time, because I'm a menace, and I openly admit that. So one of the things that the house gave back this week while taking my masking tape and like 3 other things is my stitching journal, which I've actually been using. Stitching journal, stitching planner, what is this? Stitching journal and planner. So I wasn't entirely wrong. This was the 2022 version done by Black Needle Society. I don't get their boxes, but they did put the extras of this up in the vault, and I jumped on it like a crazy person. And I'm getting back into using it after it was disappeared for a few months. But so you have things like, it does this, and it's got a cover page, and then it's got your big month goals. You know, finish any project. Start the Haunted Library, that would be great. Because I did buy the Haunted Library pattern, the Haunted Library stitch along. But you can go in, and obviously I haven't updated my stitch tracker in a few days. But you assign colors to certain time limits of stitching, and you fill in how much you did, and then this is your project tracker. And you write down, I think it's 8 different projects. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 projects, and you choose your 8 projects of the month, and then again you give a color assignment and you color it in. The 3 days that are blue that I kind of scribbled through, I did not stitch. I came home, I was exhausted, I didn't stitch. Um, but what I was really on the lookout for when I went to Target completely unrestrained like a toddler, was, let me go back, I think, and right around here. One of the months that I was using it before it disappeared, I was having a problem because, yeah, I think this one. So, all my pins were bleeding through. Like, all of them. All my pins were bleeding through from the other page, but you can't see quite as well when it's pressed down, but when I hold it up, I can see it bleeding through, like right there. These weren't as bad as the Daily Stitch Tracker ones. Those were really bad. We weren't just talking about some shadowing, we were talking about some straight on bleed through and also some ghosting. So I was desperately on the lookout for some pens that were not going to horribly bleed through, and I did find them. And if I find the original package for them, because you can see here, there should be, give me. There should be some ghosting right through here, and there's really not. And then the same on this one. You can see very little ghosting, but no bleed through whatsoever, which is really what I was hoping for. I can deal with a little bit of ghosting, I can't handle bleed through to save my soul. So, these are the Zebra Sarasa Fine Liners. And they came in a 10-pack with all of the colors that are similar to the colors that I had used to set up the journal. I'm trying to get them all facing one direction. Okay. Okay, I haven't lost any. There's a bonus. So these are the pens that I'm currently using. They do not bleed through my stitching journal. They write really well, and they don't bleed through. My ink joys sadly bleed through, which is really sad because I love my ink joys. These are probably some of the most comfortable pens I've ever used. Are they Sharpie S gel quality? No, not at all, but not everything can be Sharpie. While I was there, I also picked up a pack of highlighters because all of my highlighters that I use on my physical paper patterns kind of died on me. So I wound up with these three, and I've already started using this blue one on the JBW Hollow Round designs, and it works amazing. They are erasable. That's what this little... So when I am actually done with the pattern, I can completely erase the highlights, and if I want to stitch it again, I can. So, and these are the Frixion Pilot Remove by Friction highlighters. I also have the Frixion pens, mostly because I can't be trusted to write and not screw something up. So, let's see, what have we talked about? There, yep. Also, I did email Black Needle Society, and I asked them hey guys, do you have any plans to make a 2023 version of the stitching journal planner? And I said, look, I know I'm early, it's only August, but like I am absolutely in love with this, and I need it for next year. So I am by no means a big name Flosstuber, and please feel free to check for yourself. But Black Needle Society did say that they were going to make a 2023 version, and that it wasn't going to be tied to a box because I'm still on the wait list for the box. Speaking of boxes, I did get 2 Halloween boxes. Almost made it 3, but decided to take it easy. Um, but they will make a 2023 version of this, and I really just I fell in love with this because it's stitch based, which is my biggest thing, but like it's got, word of the year stitching challenge, the word of the year is appreciation, and you can stitch on something with that. It's got a bingo sheet in there. Stitch colors, stitch all the colors, and you can go through and but it also has, it has the monthly breakdown, but then after you do your stitch tracker and your project tracker, you can list out all of your works in progress, and you can list off any new purchases you make, and then it actually starts going into the weekly breakdown, so you can use it as both a planner, as well as, for your stitching. And there was supposed to be a battle of the whips that you could have done in like February, March, for like March Madness. I think March is about the time that I lost this thing. Yep, because March and April are blank. May start shopping list. Has one for mid-year finishes. I had none. But, and then in September, it's got the same thing, I think. Works in progress, new purchases. The 13 Stitches of Halloween. Each year, Athena from BNS hosts a Halloween stitching challenge. Join us this October as we stitch on 13 Halloween and autumn-inspired projects, and use this tracker sheet to plan the projects and to keep track of everything. So I am really going to look forward to that in October. But yeah, so refinding this has been super helpful, and then finding the pins that actually go on it, also helpful. Other than that, things that I got in this week, I'm still waiting on my Taylor and Cromwell box. Whenever that comes in, I will show you. I think this month, aka August, is Agatha Christie, but this is a fabric that I picked up from Mystic Fabrics. It is in their Galaxy, and I picked it up. I don't even know if this is current or not anymore, because on the Cross Stitch chat, we have a D-Stash channel, and one of the people in the chat was like, hey, I've well past, stash acquired beyond life expectancy, so I've gone way past Sable. I need to get rid of some of this stuff, and this was the one that I grabbed, because it was too pretty to pass up. But it is gorgeous. I have no idea what I'm going to put on it yet, but that is not why we buy the pretty fabric. We buy the pretty fabric to buy the pretty fabric. found these. They are magnetic, which is nice. But you can write down the color, and it's like a giant kind of, it's a project base floss drop. So I might wind up using that on the My Body, My Choice. And then I dug this guy out of timeout. I may restart on him. And I may also trim the fabric down. Why are there two pieces of fabric in here? I am confused. Okay, please hold. Oh, because I did cut it in half already. Lord of mercy. Okay, so this, I believe it goes this way, was the very, very small start of a project that I think I only have in PDF form, but I haven't uploaded it into Kindle yet, or into Pattern Keeper yet. And that is the, it's this really pretty one I found on Etsy. It's a black snake with a moon. My friend Ash was working on this on their scroll frame for StitchCon, and then this is the other half of that fabric. It's just a really pretty gray with some soft gold going through it. And that's why there are two pieces of fabric in the bag. I might pull this guy out of timeout and start working on it again, assuming I can find where in my file organizational system that I put that guy. Let's see. Speaking of organizational systems, right now, because my physical pattern stash is fairly small, I can contain it mostly into two things. This, which is one of those giant accordion files, and then I have one of like the magazine keepers, and that is currently holding all of my copies of Cross Stitch magazine that I can find, or just Cross Stitch that I can find, up to and including last year's Halloween. I think this one is not in the box because there's nothing from this that I really want to stitch. Yeah, there's the one, it's the Nutcracker Dancers, but other than that, there's not much in this that I am really after. I'm not a big Christmas person, although I do like the light, laughter, and latkeys. But the Nutcracker Stitch number 40 is pretty much what I'm holding on to this one for. I made my partner a deal that I would go through all of my cross stitch magazines and either pull just the patterns that I want out of them and recycle the rest, or to just recycle them if I'm done with them, because otherwise we would be swimming in magazines. And to be fair, I made him do this with all of his Game Informers, so he had a reason for saying stuff. Let's see. Other than that, we went to the pool. I have paperwork that I have to do for a job. And, so paperwork to fill out for the new job. And then I will be volunteering at the Rhode Island Parrot Rescue on Saturday. So I may not get to film Saturday, which is why I may have to film Sunday. But yeah, this has been a fairly quiet week, stitching wise. I have been getting better about taking my stitching with me and stitching if I'm going to be crashed at a friend's house. Excuse me. Typically what we do is, because she is working on writing right now, we will sit in her office where the birds are, and she will work on writing, and I will work on stitching. Uh, because both of us are just like the spending time together, but we don't have to constantly be talking to each other and all of that. We can just exist in the same space and be happy. Um, so this is probably actually the shortest floss tube that I have, um, because I haven't started very many new things and not many things have come in. But hopefully next week I will have more to show you guys. And that's it for now. So I hope you have a good week. Happy stitching, and may the frog never find you.